Hello, Younique presenters. This is Tori Poulter. I am the Chief Sales Officer for our spectacular company, and we are joining you here for the next segment of our education on our France launch. That France launch is taking place on February the 1st at about 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we are here for the next step in providing you with more information, and I am joined by a couple of very special people. I am joined by Jordan Meyer, who is our Director of International Development, who we heard from on our first webinar, and I am joined by two other people. And I am joined by Tonya Teeter, who requires no introduction because I know you all know who she is, one of our Black Status presenters extraordinaire. We will be hearing from her in a moment. And then we also have another very special guest, and that is a future Younique presenter who resides in the country of France. Her name is Aline. We will be hearing from her a little bit later on in the program. So before we get to those two, I'd like to turn a little bit of time over to Jordan. And Jordan, just to ask you if you can, and this will serve as a reminder, truly, but if you can just go through with us, in case we have anyone getting into the game for the first time, if you can please just give us a couple of, as a review, a couple of simple 1, 2, 3 steps on how to get in the game with our France launch.
First of all, Tori, if you're just getting into the game, it's an incredible game to get into because France is hopping. So the three things I would tell a presenter who wants to get going in France are to first find assets, right? And we certainly could do a better job of centralizing these, but let me give you a few tips. By assets, I mean images and videos that you can share on social media. We have tons of product images on our website. We've got even more shareable product images coming out shortly as well. There's a video of Derek and Melanie where they talk about basically 5 reasons why Younique is awesome and why a person should sign up. And it's localized into French. Obviously, they don't speak French, so it's subtitled. But the way you find that is by going, clicking on the top right on the website on the flag, switch to the French-Canadian flag, and go to the About page. It's also on our YouTube channel. But it's a great way to introduce Younique to people. We have Product 1 sheets also on the French-Canadian site. By Product 1 sheets, the product overview sheets, I actually can't remember what the title is of those exactly. Internally, we've called them Product 1 sheets. But it's a great way, once again, to share information and educate yourself about the products. So that's step 1. Step 2, sign up for the launch newsletter. So I think a lot of presenters, this is an underutilized resource. So we have a France landing page, a France website, and on that website, youniqueproducts.com/France, you can subscribe to a newsletter, and we release weekly, sometimes more than weekly, updates on the France launch. And this is a terrific tool for sharing with people in France, potentials and recruits who are interested in Younique. And so what you would do, let's say you do have a person who wants to learn more about the France launch. You send your URL /France, and then people, your person who signs up for that newsletter will get a newsletter, kind of like the Let's Face It newsletter. It looks like it's coming from you. And it's updates about the company and about the France launch. Number 3 is start networking. And our two guests will give some more information on this, but we live in a marvelous time, a time where social media sort of breaks traditional barriers. And Younique is really a one-of-a-kind company in that it provides a platform and an opportunity to transcend country borders unlike any other social media company has ever done. So that's it. 1, 2, 3. That's how I'd say someone could get started.
Terrific. Very simple, very clear. Thanks, Jordan. Without further ado, I want to turn some time over to Tonya, and I just really quickly saying a few things about Tonya. So she has. I don't think that there is anyone in the company who doesn't know Tonya Teeter, but nonetheless, she is a Black status presenter. She has been a Black status presenter from May of 2014, and she has consistently maintained that rank every month. And why I want to say that, why I think that's important, is because she is really someone who we can look to guide us for how to do things the right way. And that is why we have asked her, and she has generously agreed to spend some time with all of us talking about how she has prepared for the France launch. So welcome, Tonya. The first question that I have for you, if you can speak to us just a little bit of is this the first country market launch that you have done, or is this a bit of a first for you? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, the first market launch, first of all, by the way, I just want to say thank you, and I'm so honored that you asked me to be a part of this call.
You might be on mute, Tonya, because I cannot hear you. So let's try it again. Are you there with us?
Can you hear me now?
Here we go. Beautiful. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. Well, I want to say thank you very much for asking me to be a part of this call. The first market launch that happened after I joined Younique was Australia. And I love the idea of growing my team there, but was witnessing so many spammy things that, to be honest, it really just turned me off from growing an international force. So if you don't know what spammy is, it is posting your unsolicited link or join my team, that kind of stuff. Just any sort of advertisement everywhere you possibly can on social media, with complete disregard to how many times similar ads have been posted, or if they are disrespectfully being posted right on top of another presenter's post. And we were seeing so much of that. And it comes down to being focused only on whether you will get the sale, party, or the recruit, not the opportunity to build a relationship. So don't do this. Don't be spammy ever. One of my biggest regrets is that I did not actively encourage my team to take advantage of all the opportunities that our UK launch offered us. I know how to network, and it's not much different than how we make friends here in the United States. But instead of teaching my team how to network responsibly, I just misadvised them that there were so many people here in the United States that still didn't know about Younique, and that we should continue to focus on growing our teams here. So this is really the first market launch that I've really just kind of gone gung-ho and have really decided that my team and I are going to just work this, and we're going to make it happen.
Interesting to hear that, because you are so engaged in this launch. So, I mean, what really made you decide to jump in the game and get you so engaged in working France?
After watching the massive success of the UK launch, I just quickly realized how wrong I had been by waiting and not pursuing the international markets. So I knew as soon as France was announced, I needed to reach out for referrals. I needed to contact my French connections and share the incredible news and start building new friendships.
Great. I really want to get down to some specific detail, but I also really want to hear a little bit of your story of how you started that process. What have you done to start building your team in France? And then if you can, provide us with some specific detail on very tactical and practical things that you've done.
Well, that's funny. Seconds after France was announced at our Chicago convention, I just turned to my team that I was sitting with and I said, I'm going to France. Who's coming with me?
I remember that moment. That was announced as well. It was so emotional, and there was electricity in that room.
I did. I swear, I just jumped up, and those were the words I was waiting to hear. And my friend and fellow go-getter on my team, Jolene Burnett, said, I'm coming with you. I was so excited. We started planning our trip right away. I wanted to focus on building as many friends as I could while I was there. which is exactly what we did. We visited stores and restaurants, and we went to this huge Christmas festival that had hundreds, maybe thousands of crafters and merchants, and most of them were women. We spent a lot of time just really getting to know people and casually talking to people, handing out blitz cards, business cards, and adding friends on Facebook. It was such an incredible experience. We obviously talked about Younique while we were there, but our focus was more on just establishing friendships and relationships that we could build on back here in the United States. We were fortunate to be able to travel to France, but if you don't have that same opportunity available to you, you can still take advantage of what social media has to offer and build those relationships by making friends through all sorts of group pages. I always tell my team to figure out something that they are genuinely interested in. Say they really love to cook. You could join a French cooking group on Facebook and be active in that group. Interact by posting your own questions, thoughts, experience, stories. You can comment on other people's posts. The idea is to just make friends. You don't need to talk about Younique. You just want to establish that relationship. As you start adding friends to your Facebook page, they will naturally just see your Younique Facebook posts. And as you develop a relationship with them, they will want to help you be successful. Maybe they will love makeup and are looking for an exciting way to make extra income. And Younique would be perfect for them. That's awesome. But if not, they can just be an excellent person to offer referrals. In worst case scenario, you have a new friend that you have something in common with. And I consider that a win-win.
You know, I love this. And I want to make a comment on something that you said, because something that as I'm listening to this answer for your question, what I'm thinking is, this is no different than how you would answer the question, how do you recruit, period, whether or not it's France or whether or not it's in the United States. That's the same answer of how you here, right?
That's exactly what I do here. It's exactly, if I'm not recruiting and sponsoring to locally, and I want to get out of my local area and community, that's exactly how I sponsor people.
And that is just the beauty of
people. Mm-hmm.
That is the beauty of our model, that we are a social media company, right? We are an e-commerce company. And it is what allows us to have so much success globally, to be so globally seamless. So I guess I just want to reiterate what you said, is that you were fortunate enough to go over and visit there, but you didn't do anything differently when it came down to it than you would do in the United States. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of how we can all be so successful in other markets. So thank you for that. Now, maybe we should talk about how something is different, because you've just really hit on how really things are the same of how you would recruit anywhere. But I want to talk about something that is definitely unavoidably different, and that's the language barrier. So what have you done to overcome the language barrier?
Well, I'm pretty well traveled, so I've never let something like language barriers intimidate me. I have found in most of my travels that most people around the world speak a little bit of English, and I found that in France, most people know a lot of English, especially in the larger cities. I think that you will find that people want to communicate and will try and understand. It is always good to take advantage of people on your teams, though, that speak French, or anyone in your local community. I have a friend who teaches French in our high school, and she helps me out a lot. But you can also utilize all of the translation sites on the internet. I know Google Translate is one that's real popular. But no, it's not something that I would ever let stand in my way or keep me from building my business in another country.
Thank you for that. So two specific things that you said is, one, take advantage of people on your teams or the local community, whether they're presenters or not. And obviously, the goal would be to make them future presenters. But setting that aside, there are some great translation sites on the internet. You mentioned Google Translate, which is a very easy, simple thing to do. Another one that we can suggest here corporately is Unbabel, and that is really just Google Translate on steroids. So that's another level. And then Jordan, we've got a third one that we use. It's Elance, right? Talk about that a little bit.
So Elance is a site where you can find people to do work for you, all types of work. And Elance in particular, some presenters have used that to find someone in the local market who speaks the language you're looking to gain access to. So there are people on there, professional translators and they're priced accordingly. And send them something to translate, and they'll do it for you.
Great. So a lot of different options there. So you talked a lot about how you networked in France. Can you talk just a little bit about some of your learnings? What did you learn? What's working? What isn't working? As you kind of glean some information from that trip.
Well, one thing I learned from my trip is that we wear makeup a lot differently here in the U.S. While we were there, we really tried to pay attention to details. So here we do a lot of contouring, and we play around with different looks. One day we may, do something really bold. One day we may do something natural. One day we may do a smoky eye. But in Paris, we noticed that makeup very consistently is very minimal and fresh. We didn't see a lot of foundation or blush or contouring. Eye makeup is also very clean and understated. They love their mascara, and that is about it for their eyes. Maybe a real neutral shadow, but a lot of people didn't even have shadow on. It was just mascara, maybe a wing. However, everyone had gorgeously groomed eyebrows. But what is bold there is lips. Even if they had no other makeup on, almost every woman had a bright pink or a classic red lip. I guess my takeaway from that is that you really have to know and cater to the market that you're working.
Alex gave us very similar feedback about how women wear cosmetics. So thank you for that. It's the insight is fantastic. So can we summarize, Tonya? If you were just to do a not role playing per se, but summarize for us, what would you tell a presenter who wants to begin working in France?
It doesn't matter if you are sponsoring from your home market or internationally. Sponsoring is as simple as making friends. Make more friends, build personal relationships with people. The tricky part may be finding those friends. I know not everyone has the means to just hop on a plane and fly over to Paris like I was able to, but that is where social media really helps everyone. Like I said, work groups. Find people who share genuine interests with you and make a connection. You don't have to limit yourself to makeup groups or direct selling groups. In fact, I've had the least amount of success in those types of groups. I actually joined a pen pal group a few months ago and have been writing old school to people with a pen and a paper. Utilize referrals. Before I left Paris and London, I asked on Facebook if any one of my Facebook friends knew people in those areas that I could connect with while I was in Europe. And just last week, I had a new UK sign up from one of those referrals. Sponsoring doesn't have to be stressful. It should be as enjoyable as meeting a new friend. If you are always going for the recruit and not for the relationship, that's where you're going to end up losing out.
Excellent one, too. Build personal relationships when sponsoring, 1, and 2, utilize referrals. Really great, excellent insight and information, Tonya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For joining us and taking time out of your day to share some insights with all of your fellow presenters. We're going to turn next. We have a treat, because what we're going to do now is put ourselves in the shoes of a future France presenter. And what we have, we have Aline, who is joining us as a future presenter, and undoubtedly, as we've been able to spend a little bit of time with her, a future leader in our organization. So Aline, welcome.
Hey everyone! Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. And so question for you first, Aline. Tell us, in general, what attracted you to Younique?
Ah, that's a good question. I have one word for you, the products. I totally fell in love with the products, starting, of course, with the mascara. To tell you the story of how I discovered Younique, I spent quite some time on YouTube, and I follow several YouTubers. And one of them, her name is Graveyard Girl. She tested the mascara and she made a video about it. And I watched it, I would say, in August, and the results were wow. And that's how I fell in love with Younique. And after this video, I spent several hours looking for Younique products and watching videos about all the products, and I just fell in love with all of them. And that's where Tonya is right. In France, many women are crazy about lip products, and that's the second thing I loved about Younique products were the lip products. I'm crazy about red lip products, and I so fell in love with all of them. So first is the product, then I would say it's the company. I'm a dynamic person, and I love the idea of working for a dynamic company. Like I said, I discovered Younique in August, and since August, it's been what, 4 or 5 months. See how many new products came out. I mean, that's crazy. So many new things to discover, to try, to talk about, to share. I mean, that's my thing. That's what I want to do. Work for a company that share the same energy as me. So the other thing is I was not really interested in direct sales. I have a day job, but what I really loved is how you can do whatever you want. You can work from home, from your computer, from your phone. You can do vendor events. You can do one-on-one. You can do home events. You can basically work from wherever you want and whenever you want, and spend as much or as little time as you want, basically. So that's a good thing for me who have a day job already. So that's really, really great. And the last thing I'm thinking of is the mission of the company. I mean, especially in my case, I work in a job where I work with men, and it's a good thing to have a company that puts women in the center of everything and who gives confidence to us. So I love Younique. You are not here yet, but I just love you guys.
Just described the journey of almost every presenter who has joined our organization, and I feel it necessary listening to you to assure our presenters that we did not script this. It is so similar to what attracted all of us to the company, and so I guess what I'm hearing is that it's just not that much different. It's just not that much different over across the ocean than it is for anyone else. So let's talk about when. How long have you been looking at Younique? When did you actually decide to join?
So actually, I watched my first video about the mascara, I would say, at the end of August. I fell in love with the company, but like I said, I have a day job. At the beginning, I just wanted the products. I was like, I'm going to be a client, but that's it. And yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's how I began. I was at the beginning, and I spent some time on the forum on one of my other hobby, and a woman posted something about the opportunity, what it was, how it works, and everything. And I was like, that can be an idea. How about I become a presenter? I can have makeup for free, or at least I can sell just enough to buy my products. But that's it. I told her I don't want to recruit. I just want my products. But the point is, that's in my character. I like to challenge myself, and then it grew on me. And then I was like, no, but you know what? if I do this, I'm going to do this all the way. So I'm going to be a recruiter. I'm going to have my team, and I'm going to go as far as I can. And you know what? Like I said, client, and then just presenter, and now team leader, I hope. But that just took me a couple of days. I mean, I got excited, and it just took me a couple of days to to go from being a client to become a recruiter. So that's what Younique is, I think.
So you're going to learn a word that we use around here, or a phrase, and it's called kidnapper. And,
yes.
and it sounds like you are similar to the rest of our presenters in the U.S.
That was my second step, being a kidnapper.
Okay, great. So I understand. I know that you have been networking quite a bit to really actively work towards building a team of your own in France, which is fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. What I've been doing so far, I might not have as many recruits as other future presenters. What I'm doing right now is what I would call background work. I'm just building everything to be ready for the 1st of February when Younique is going to arrive. On the one hand, I've been preparing my tools, what I would say my tools. I've been creating Facebook groups, my Facebook business page. I also have been working around YouTube and Pinterest and discover all these social support, I would say. The funny thing is my husband bought me a video computer program for Christmas, so now I'm having fun with it, trying to work my way around it to be able to make nice videos. I've also been working on my Facebook party scripts and so on. So yeah, just basically preparing my tools, what I would say my tools. Then of course I told everybody around me of what I'm about to do, all my friends and all my family, and I make them work. I've asked them to spread it around them, to get people excited also around them, and they have already started me to find me customers and maybe hostesses, so that's a good thing. I've been spending quite some time watching Younique videos, see how people make them, and how Black Status present everything. I've been learning a lot about parties and market and branding and stuff like that. But I would say the most important thing I've been doing is building my relationships. I've been seeing so many people spamming on Facebook right now. I don't want to do that. So right now I'm building relationship with my actual friends, and I've entered several groups, new groups on Facebook about hobbies I have, and I'm making new friends. So I'm preparing. I'm getting ready right now.
This list sounds awfully familiar. It sounds a lot like the list that Tonya just gave us about how she is working on her recruiting.
But that's funny you mentioned that, and I don't think it's a coincidence, because actually I've been spending hours and hours on YouTube, basically watching as many Black Status presenters video as I could find, and I've been watching them. I've been watching their videos. I'm following them on Facebook, and I think I'm just duplicating what they're doing. So
good advice to all of us, that they have gotten to their position through hard work and very much instinctually knowing how to build this business, and it's great advice for all of us to follow. So wonderful. So one final question: if you can just take a moment and talk to us a little bit about what your successes have been so far, and then take a minute and speak to us about what your challenges have been so far.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with my successes. First, I would say I don't come. I have a sales background, but a very different one. and I don't have any marketing strategies, and I don't know anything about that. And that's one of my big success right now. I've been learning a lot about direct sales, about business strategies, about expanding my network, about branding, basically getting people excited about a product, getting people excited about the opportunity, trying to recruit, actually getting recruits, and yeah, that's pretty much, about all the preparing. And one of my other success is I found a great team. I'm being part of an awesome team that I'm sure we're going to do some great work together. So yeah, it's just preparing everything, expanding everything, getting the word out that Younique is coming. What's unique? What's great about Younique? And I think it's working. Yeah, it's definitely working. That's going to be huge. I mean, I don't know if you understand what's going on, but that's going to be huge. And yeah, that's going to be great.
And have you had challenges so far?
Yeah, it's not easy every day, because when you try to talk about the products, people tend to be skeptical. It's kind of a blur for them because it's not here yet. So like, yeah, I don't know. Talk to me when it's there. It's no. Plus, when you show pictures, no, they're fake. They're being photoshopped and everything. And the prices, oh no, it's too expensive for me. I can find cheaper products in stores. So yeah, it's work. It takes work to give the envy to people, basically. Another thing which is kind of frustrating for me, and Tonya's talked about it before, it's people being spammy. People are being spammy all the time and just spamming Facebook, basically, and putting their join my team and this, and Younique is not even here yet. Some people, unfortunately, some people have a bad image and are already getting tired of it. So
clearly that's a word that translates, spamming.
Yes. Yes, and it takes work to explain them that it's not a problem of the company, it's more of a person that doesn't really know yet what she's doing and doing it the wrong way. But don't put it on the company. The products are great, but it takes extra work, extra energy that I should be doing something else. So, and another thing, I had a couple of disappointments. I got some girls excited about the opportunity, about joining my team, basically. And then a couple of days, a couple of weeks later, they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm going to go with my friend, I'm going to go with my cousin. So basically, I did the work, I got them excited, but they're going to go with something else.
Sure, okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
Aline, this has been so valuable for all of us, so we sure appreciate you taking the time to go through this with you. And I hope I get to meet you in person. And mention, perhaps in France, to thank you in person for what you have done for us. So, Tonya, I actually, just to tie this together, would like to ask you and turn it over to you for a final question. If you can help us understand, to really tie both of these in together, the work that you have done, how you and your future team have worked together. Your future France team. You might still be on
She's
mute.
muted. Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself.
You're good.
I had a great spiel, though. Let's see here. I guess one thing that I would like to talk about is I kind of just want to touch on that as a team leader and as someone who just really wants to help everybody out, I really want to. There's so many people out there, and I try and just really focus on the people who really want it. And I put my time and my energy into the girls that are mirroring back the same time and energy that I'm putting into them. So, is that what you're asking, Tori?
It's exactly what I'm asking. And speaking specifically on France, it's feeling like your response is no different when you're trying to build a future team in France of how you work with your existing team, whether it be the U.S. or another country. It feels like it isn't really much different.
Right, and I definitely want to teach my existing team to just really network responsibly and not be spammy. That's a theme I think we've heard throughout this entire conversation. It's just really network responsibly and create those relationships with people. It shouldn't be as much about you and what you're going to get out of it, whether it's a new teammate or, extra income. It's about what you can offer to that person to change their life, and that's really what it should be about. Are you there? Hello?
That maybe the team has not had a lot of support from a sponsor at the beginning.
I missed whatever just happened.
There you go. We're back.
Totally blanked out. I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden, my computer's acting up.
Okay, so just final thoughts from you on that. It feels like what you're saying, it takes a little bit of time and work on both ends.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time and work on both ends to really understand on both sides if you're really serious about this, right?
Right, absolutely.
Terrific. Tonya, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us and for your words. Jordan, in conclusion, any parting thoughts from you?
Yeah, so, I think there are presenters out there who are listening to this and are interested in France, who may be thinking to themselves, you know what, we announced France in August. We've got people like Tonya Teeter out there working in France. But I want to say, as loudly as I can, that it's not too late to get involved in France. Everyone has a different sphere of influence. Everyone has a different sort of social footprint. And therefore, everyone's going to have a different beachhead into a new market like France. And so if you're thinking it's too late, don't think that. There are millions of people who have yet to hear about Younique. And there are people who have heard a little bit about Younique, who maybe by the time you come along and communicate with them, they'll be ready to join. I know there's a school of thought, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, which is that it's best to begin working a market, after some of the people have sort of blazed the trail and gotten the word out. So that said, a couple of exciting things we have coming from us about the France launch here in coming weeks. Number one is we're going to have an opportunity webinar geared toward people in France, and that will be released right before launch, a couple days before launch. We'll communicate the date later, but this is a great opportunity. If you have people on the bubble right before the launch, let them listen to Melanie. She'll talk about all the reasons why this company is unique and wonderful. And then also, we've been getting lots of questions about the tax and legal situation and something called BDI, all the statuses involved in France. We are releasing a Doing Business in France guide that we're working on. In fact, I've spent all morning on a call with our advisors in France. So we're working, and we'll have that out as soon as we can get that done, and that should answer a lot of your questions. But that's all from me, Tori.
All right, hopefully you have found this second call valuable. As Jordan mentioned, we have our third and final opportunity call that will be coming up just a couple of days before the launch. And that is a pattern, by the way, that we have done with every country that we've launched. So if you have been with us for other launches, you will be familiar with what that final call is. With that, we are going to sign off, and thank you for attending, and hope that we have given you some additional information for you to use as you get into the game of France. So with that, we will say goodbye, and thank you very much.